Welcome to ComfortTV.channel news, bringing you verified and balanced news from Nigeria and around the world. My name is Faith Kevin. In the headlines, Nnamdi Kanu includes Ministers Wike and Umahi among witnesses for his defense. Cross River government shuts 36 illegal schools in 3 local government areas. And CDC reports 172 Lassa fever deaths. Presidency accuses U.S. lawmakers of orchestrating anti-Nigerian agenda. Court remands Ebonyi bishop over alleged sex scandal. Fire got section of Alaba Market in Lagos. On business news, Nigeria and Denmark signed MOU on digital transformation and innovation. UBA inducted 700 young professionals under leadership scheme. On the foreign scene, North Korea fires multiple ballistic missiles. First launch in months. UK removes Syria's HTS from terrorist organizations list. And on sports, La Liga cancels plan to hold Villarreal vs Barcelona match in Miami. Ghanaian police probe suspicious death of Senegalese footballer. Now the news. The leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, has listed former Attorney General of the Federation, AGF, Abubakar Malami, as his witness in his ongoing alleged terrorism trial. Kanu, in a fresh motion he personally signed and filed before Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court in Abuja, assured that he was ready to begin his defense as ordered by the court. The IPOB leader informed the court of his plan to call a total of 23 witnesses divided into 2 categories. The first category, he said, will be those he called ordinary but material witnesses. He further informed the court that his secondary category of witnesses would be vital and compellable and shall be summoned under Section 232 of the Evidence Act 2011. He prayed the court that in view of the number of witnesses he intends to call, the court should consider granting a 90-day time frame to enable him conclude his defense. Kanu told the court that he would testify on his own behalf, providing a sworn account of the facts, denying the allegations, and explaining the political context of his statements and actions. Among those he listed as compellable witnesses are the ministers of FCT, Nyesom Wike, a former Minister of Defense, General Theophilus Danjuma, former Chief of Army Staff, General Tukur Buratai, retired, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State, and Governor Hope Uzodinma of Imo State. Others, the Minister of Works, Engineer Dave Umahi, the immediate past Governor of Abia, Chief Okeze Ikwazu, immediate past Director General, National Intelligence Agency, Ahmed Rufai Abubakar, former Director General of the State Security Service, Yusuf Bichi, and several witnesses whose identities he didn't reveal. Mazu, in the motion, promised to provide the sworn statements of all voluntary witnesses to the Honorable Court and to notify the prosecution within a reasonable time. He assured that no precious time of the Honorable Court will be delayed. Meanwhile, the Magistrate Court in Abuja ordered the remand of Kanu's Special Counsel, Barrister Aloy Ejimako, and 12 others who were arrested during the protest organized by Mr. Omoyele Sowore on Monday against the IPOB leaders' continued trial and detention. The police charged the 13 persons with various offenses, including criminal conspiracy, disobedience of a lawful order, inciting disturbance, and disturbance of public peace in contravention of Section 152, 114, and 113 of the Penal Code Law. The Cross River State government has shut down 36 unapproved schools operating illegally across 3 local government areas of the state, according to a statement published on the Ministries of Education official website. The affected institutions, ranging from primary to secondary schools, were operating without registration or official approval. Confirming the development, the Commissioner for Education, Professor Stephen Ode, described the situation as unfortunate, noting that some individuals continue to exploit unsuspecting parents by running unauthorized schools. He explained that the closures were executed by the State Task Force on Illegal Schools, which was inaugurated earlier this month. Professor Ode warned that the ministry would no longer tolerate any unauthorized or mushroom operations in the state education sector. The ministry's publication listed 16 affected schools in Calabar, 10 in Ikom, and another 10 in Ogoja, all found to be running without government approval. Reaffirming the government's commitment to quality education, Professor Ode stressed that only duly registered and accredited schools would be permitted to function. He further advised parents and guardians to verify the approval of school statuses before enrolling their children, warning that the enforcement exercise will be extended to all 18 local government areas in the state. The Nigerian Center for Disease and Control Prevention (NCDC) says 172 deaths have been recorded from Lassa fever in 21 states. The NCDC said this represents a case fatality rate (CFR) of 18.6%, higher than the 17% recorded during the same period in 2024. The agency said 924 confirmed cases and 8,041 suspected cases had been reported from 106 local government areas. It said Ondo, Bauchi, Edo, Taraba, and Ebonyi accounted for 90% of all confirmed cases, with Ondo alone responsible for 35%. The center said that the reports indicated that confirmed cases rose from 4 in week 39 to 13 in week 40, all recorded in Ondo State. The NCDC noted that the predominant age group affected was 21 to 30 years and added that no new healthcare worker infections were reported during the week under review. It attributed the high fatality rate to the late presentation of cases and poor health-seeking behavior among residents of high-burden communities. It also listed poor environmental sanitation and low awareness as factors driving infections. To strengthen response efforts, the NCDC said it had deployed 10 national rapid response teams to affected states using a One Health approach. It added that ongoing activities include training of healthcare workers, risk communication campaigns, and the distribution of response commodities such as ribavirin, PPEs, and thermometers to treatment centers. The presidency has accused a group of United States lawmakers and lobbyists of launching a coordinated campaign to mislead U.S. President Donald Trump into sanctioning Nigeria under false claims of religious persecution. Presidential spokesperson Mr. Daniel Bwala described the campaign as a deliberate disinformation strategy aimed at destabilizing Nigeria and tarnishing its international reputation. The country of particular concern (CPC) designation empowers the U.S. government to impose sanctions on countries accused of systematic, ongoing, and egregious violations of religious freedom. Nigeria was previously placed on the CPC list in 2020 during Trump's administration but was removed in 2021 by President Joe Biden. Mr. Bwala accused the lawmakers of manipulating records and reports of terrorism and communal clashes to portray Nigeria as a country that persecutes Christians. He insisted that the agitation in Washington was politically motivated and did not reflect the realities in Nigeria, stressing that the government would respond with verifiable facts rather than lobby for approval. The presidency has consistently rejected claims of state-sponsored persecution, maintaining that Nigeria's security challenges are driven by terrorism, banditry, and criminality, not religious discrimination. A magistrate court sitting in Abakaliki, Ebonyi State, has ordered the remand of Bishop Sam Onyagoziri Ndubweze, leader of the Champions Cathedral Church in the Correctional Center, over an alleged sex scandal. The cleric was accused of having unlawful carnal knowledge of a young lady and allegedly sharing explicit pictures and videos of the act on social media. Bishop Ndubweze was arraigned before the court on a 4-count charge bordering on threats, fraud, and the circulation of pornographic materials. Offenses said to contravene various provisions of the Ebonyi State Violence Against Persons Prohibition Law, the Criminal Code, and the Cybercrime Act 2015. When the case was called at Court 2, Abakaliki Magistrate Chima Nkechi Happiness ruled that the court lacked jurisdiction to entertain the matter and consequently ordered that the accused be remanded at the Abakaliki Correctional Center. The magistrate also directed that the original case file, evidence, and related documents be transferred to the Department of Public Prosecution (DPP) for further action at the High Court. According to the charge sheet, Bishop Ndubweze was accused of committing the offenses in 2021 at Mile 50 Layout, Abakaliki. The charges include allegation that he had unlawful carnal knowledge of the victim through threats and fraudulent representation contrary to Section 358 of the Criminal Code Cap 33 Volume 1 Laws of Ebonyi State, threatening the victim's life with firearm, causing her extreme fear in violation of Section 12, and knowingly transmitting pornographic material via computer systems, an offense punishable under the sections of the Cybercrimes Act 2015 as amended 2024. Emotionally and psychologically abusing the victims by circulating her nude photographs on social media in contravention of Section 20 subsection 1 of the Ebonyi State Violence Act Against Persons Prohibition Law 2018. The case has been referred to the DPP for legal advice and possible arraignment before a competent court. A section of the popular Alaba International Market in Lagos State was engulfed by a massive fire, leaving traders in panic as goods and property worth millions of naira were destroyed. The inferno, which reportedly started from the furniture section of the market located near the Ojo local government secretariat in Ojo town, quickly spread to adjoining shops, consuming several structures and merchandise before help could arrive. Eyewitness accounts indicated that the fire began from what was described as a little spark, but due to the highly inflammable nature of the materials in the market, the flames spread rapidly. Videos circulating online showed thick columns of black smoke and fierce flames rising into the air as traders frantically tried to salvage their goods. Many shop owners were seen waiting and rushing to retrieve what they could from their stores, while others joined efforts to extinguish the fire using buckets of water and fire extinguishers. Some traders accused market security personnel of responding too slowly, while others called for urgent intervention from the authorities. As of the time the video were recorded, it remained unclear whether operatives of the Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service or other emergency responders have reached the scene. The extent of damage and the actual cause of the fire have yet to be officially determined. Alaba International Market, one of the largest electronics and furniture markets in West Africa, has witnessed several fire incidents in the past, often resulting in significant losses for traders. The outbreak adds to growing concerns about the poor fire safety standards and inadequate emergency infrastructure in many of Lagos' major markets. Comfort TV, the channel's news, returns shortly with business, foreign and sports news. Many thanks for staying tuned. This is ComfortTV.channel news. On business, the federal government, through the Ministry of Communications, Innovations and Digital Economy, has signed a memorandum of understanding with Denmark to strengthen collaboration on digital transformation and innovation aimed at driving inclusive economic growth. The agreement was signed in Lagos during the Nordic Nigeria Connect conference themed Forging Partnership for Sustainable Impact. The conference also saw Lagos and Enugu state governments pledge partnership with Nordic countries to boost technology, agriculture, energy, seaport development, and trade. Speaking at the event, Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Dr. Bosu Tijani, said the partnership represents the beginning of many things to happen between Denmark and Nigeria. He noted that President Bola Tinubu has mandated the ministry to drive an inclusive digital economy through strategic international partnership. Still on business, Africa Global Bank, United Bank for Africa, UBA PLC, has inducted over 700 young professionals into its workforce under the Graduate Management Accelerated Program GMAP, a flagship talent initiative designed to groom the next generation of African leaders. Since its launch 3 years ago, GMAP has produced more than 4,000 professionals across banking and finance, equipping them with the skills, mentorship and hands-on experience to thrive in the industry. Representing the Group Managing Director, Mr. Oliver Alauba, Deputy GMD, Mr. Chukwuma Mweke, urged the graduates to be innovators and ambassadors of UBA's legacy, joining a workforce of over 30,000 employees across 20 African countries and key global hubs. On foreign, North Korea fired multiple ballistic missiles on Wednesday, its first such launch in months, just a week before world leaders, including U.S. President Donald Trump, descended on South Korea for a summit. Seoul's Joint Chief of Staff said it had detected several projectiles believed to be short-range ballistic missiles. Seoul military said the missiles were fired from an area south of the capital, Pyongyang. They added that the missile flew for around 350 kilometers, 217 miles. The launch was the first of its kind since South Korean President Lee Jae-myung took office in June. Trump has said he hopes to meet North Korean leader Kim Jong-un possibly this year following several meetings during the Republican president's first term. Pyongyang has said that the strike range of the new Hwasong-20 knows no bounds. In September, Kim oversaw a test of a solid-fuel engine used for long-range nuclear missiles. Still on foreign, the UK has removed Syria's Hayat Tahrir al-Sham HTS from its list of banned terrorist organizations after the group ousted Bashar al-Assad last December and took control of government. The move comes after the United States announced in July it will revoke HTS's terrorist designation. HTS was proscribed by the UK in 2017 over its former links to Al-Qaeda. Last December, an armed coalition led by the HTS leader Ahmed al-Sharaa overthrew Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, ending half a century of brutal rule by the latter's family. In January, after ousting Assad, the new authorities announced the dissolution of all armed factions, with some groups, including HTS, being integrated into bodies such as the country's new police force. Britain's then Foreign Minister David Lammy met Sharaa on a visit to Syria in July, where he announced the re-establishment of full diplomatic relations more than a decade after cutting ties. In 2018, the UK joined US airstrikes on Syria's chemical weapons in response to a suspected poison gas attack by Assad's forces. On sports, La Liga's plan to hold the Barcelona match in Miami in December has been called off because of uncertainty about the game with Spain. Champions Barca was set to face Villarreal in the United States on December 20, which would have been the first European League fixture to be played abroad. La Liga said their promoter for the match decided to cancel the organization of the event because of uncertainty generated in Spain in recent weeks. Tickets for the game at Hard Rock Stadium were due to become available, but organizers the pre-sale was delayed before the plan was scrapped. The match will now be held at Villarreal's Estadio de la Cerámica home as normal. Still on sports, Ghanaian police have opened an investigation into the suspicious death of Cheikh Touré, a 20-year-old Senegalese footballer whose body was taken to a hospital last week. The announcement of a formal probe came after Senegal's government said on Saturday that Touré was the victim of a scam and extortion orchestrated by a network of fake recruiters before being murdered by his captors. Touré arrived in hospital in the city of Kumasi on Thursday with abdominal injuries caused in circumstances that remain unclear. A police statement said a man who identified himself as Issa and claimed to be the victim's brother brought the deceased to the hospital in a critical condition with severe abdominal injuries, alleging that the victim had been involved in an accident. However, hospital records indicate that the victim was already dead on arrival. The Ministry of Youth and Sports has said Touré, a resident of the Esprit Food Academy in the town of Yumbul near Dakar, came to Ghana hoping to take trials in Morocco before being kidnapped and killed. And that's our news for today morning. Before we go, here is a recap of our top stories. Nnamdi Kanu includes Minister Wike and Umahi among witnesses for his defense. Cross River government shuts 36 illegal schools in 3 local government areas. NCDC reports 172 Lassa fever deaths. Presidency accuses U.S. lawmakers of orchestrating anti-Nigeria agenda. Court remands Ebonyi Bishop over alleged sex scandal. 5 got sections of Alaba Market in Lagos on business. Nigeria and Denmark signed MOU on digital transformation and innovation. On the foreign scene, North Korea fires multiple ballistic missiles, first launch in months. In on sports, La Liga cancels plan to hold Villarreal vs Barcelona match in Miami. Thank you for watching. For breaking news, exclusive interviews and more, follow us online at ComfortTV.channel on all platforms. Remember to like and share our videos, subscribe to our channel and click on the notification bell so you don't miss out on any updates. My name is Faith Kevin. Until next time, stay informed, stay connected.